welcome back to my channel. I feel like I've been slacking on these homeschool videos lately. I guess just because it's been Christmas, I haven't done a lot of homeschool videos. But today I want to share my son's grade 2 curriculum and how it is working for us so far. So when I'm filming this, it is beginning of January, and I am going to let you know how the curriculum has worked so far from September to December. We are about to start our second semester of school, but I'm going to let you know how this curriculum is going so far. My son Elijah is in grade 2, and so let's get started. So we're going to start with math. I am once again using Matthew C, and we are on the beta book. Really enjoying it. My son, I wouldn't say he loves math, but he doesn't mind it, and I think he does enjoy this book. He might not say it often, and there might be some things that frustrate him, but I think this book is doing a great job. He loves the days where he gets to watch his DVD. He just absolutely loves screen times, anything electronic. So even though it's just a math lesson, he loves watching his math DVD, so that's great. The only downside I have to this book is that I had no idea that there was an American version and a Canadian version of this book. And so we are Canadians, and this book gets a lot into money, and so my son was doing problems with money, and I just figured that's fine, it's American money, but we have to do it because it's in this book. And I was kind of explaining to him the difference between American money and Canadian money, and that you know, he's counting it the same even though the American money looks different and whatever, all that stuff. And it was fine until my sister was talking about it, and I was like, what? You have Canadian money in your book? And she had ordered it from a Canadian distributor. I ordered it from an American distributor, but I had no sweet clue that the Canadian distributor actually sold it with Canadian, it was like a Canadian version of the book. So anyways, when I order this book eventually for my other kids, who are, especially when it has to do with money, I will order the Canadian version because that would be a lot better. But other than that, that's just my fault. I had no idea. But I really do like the Matthew C books in that I feel like they move very logically. The steps kind of make sense and just build on each other. And he is halfway through this book. He is just at the end of lesson 14, and there are 30 lessons. So for being halfway through the school year, I think that is great. He will actually end up finishing this book a little bit before the end of the school year, so he will be happy about that. It does have a test book that comes along with it too, so at the end of every lesson, he does a test. This book is doing a really good job at kind of setting the foundation for learning multiplication. So he's not doing multiplication, but he still has questions where it's like someone had 4 dimes and 2 nickels, and how much money was that? So he has to know, okay, 4 dimes is 10 cents each, so 10, 20, 30, 40. So it is almost a basis of multiplication, even though he hasn't learned multiplication yet. For writing, he is using this book. This is our first year using this book. Usually we have done handwriting without tears for writing. I don't even remember exactly why I switched to this book this time. I have the cursive book for handwriting without tears. I think that's why, because my next book is cursive, and I was going to get him to do it this year, and then I thought, no, I'm going to wait off till grade 3 to do cursive. Little did I know that this one actually gets kind of into cursive about halfway through it, so now we're into cursive anyways. So we are going to switch back to handwriting without tears next year. But, I mean, honestly, you know what? We could start it now. As I'm looking through this, he has like 5 books left in this entire book. So 5 pages left in this entire book. So anyways, we could just move on because he's almost done it. But it does get into cursive, and he isn't minding it. I mean, I think, especially after using handwriting without tears, it's a pretty boring book. Like, it's just very basic, and I don't know. We were doing a page a day, and then we moved on to only doing half a page a day because it just takes them that long, especially with all the cursive and stuff. But anyways, it's okay. It's just a lot of repetition and not really fun, I guess. And that's kind of how it is. Writing's not always going to be fun, but I'll just summon that all up to say I prefer handwriting without tears, and we're definitely going back to handwriting without tears next. So that is writing. And then spelling. Okay, I do have one downside to this spelling book. So at Spelling UC, we did this last year as well. and I really do like it. So basically what they're doing is they have like a little poem they learn, and then they have to highlight different things. So highlight vowel chunks or highlight the tricky Y guys. And anyway, they have, each lesson has an A, B, C, D, and E. So each lesson has 5 parts. So my one downside about it is that basically I counted up how many weeks of school we have. And if I'm correct, I think we do school for 35 weeks through the school year. These books have 36 lessons, which is fine, so only one more, but each lesson has an A, B, C, D, and E. So this is only book 1. He has 2 books like this. And so all that to say, it is just too long for our school year. And I haven't found that with any of the rest of our curriculum. I find we can finish it easily by the time the school year's up. We had the same problem last year, and I hadn't really figured it out, like looked ahead of time to see how many lessons there were and stuff. And anyways, we ended up just cramming at the end and just going overtime and just skipping lessons because it was so long. So this time I've tried to map it out and plan it out a little bit better, but we're still gonna have trouble with it. And we only do school Monday to Thursdays. I actually am getting him to do spelling on Friday now after our co-op just to get it done. But it's not like we can even do extra, like some, you know, if it was just a short lesson I could get him to do 2 in a day, but like it is long enough that like he is doing all of his highlighting and stuff, reading his poem, then he's doing that much writing. Like that takes him long enough that I don't want to get him to do 2 lessons. So I hope you're following, but anyway, I just find that it's a lot, like it's too long. I wish that it was like maybe 2/3 the length that it is. Next we have geography, and we used this book this year. We did this just in the fall term, so we used this September to December. We finished it. I actually used as well a just like a geography book, kind of talking about, it's like a big old book. Oh, I showed it in one of my other videos. Maybe I should have brought it down, but I can't remember what it's called right now, but we did that actually for the first like 2 months. So this book only took us, I think, 2 months to do. And I know a couple people commented on my video where I talked about this, and they said, what do you think? Like, we found it kind of dry. I really didn't. I thought it was all right. Now, that being said, I did supplement it. One thing I love about this book is that it has reproducible worksheets, so I'm going to be able to use this for all my kids, which is awesome when you have 4 kids to do school with. And I thought it was good. We did supplement it with a book from the library that goes in depth more about each province. So basically how we did it is, so you'd open the page and you go to the first lesson. Okay, so he has a worksheet to do, and then like a page where we talk about maps there. This is why people do videos with their books lying down. It's a little bit easier to handle them. Anyways, and then as we go on, I'm going to try to find the page here. If I don't find it, there was a map that I had to photocopy for him, and he got to learn all the provinces. So if you asked him right now the provinces and territories, he, I think, would know. That one wasn't actually the good map. That's okay, this one where they're actually all divided. He would know all the provinces and territories, which is great. That's what I wanted him to know. So every day we would learn a new province, and then I would read a chapter in our book that went into more detail about the provinces and read more about the provinces, and then we would read our chapter. So we kind of did it a little bit different than the book really states to do it, but he really liked it. He really especially liked, at the end, there are some stories about outstanding Canadians. And he really enjoyed hearing these stories about some different Canadians that made a difference in our country. And he really liked the hands-on work. He liked the worksheets. And so I really would recommend this book. I thought it was very well done. So that is by Donna Ward. Like I said, it is kind of like I would always recommend supplementing it with something else too. I bought these pathway readers. I don't know where the third one went. There's busy times, more busy times, and then there's a third one too, but I couldn't find it when I was pulling out my books for this video. So I bought these for Elijah, and he read through them so fast. Like, I don't even think it took him more than the first month of school before he was done all 3 of those books, which is awesome. He was enjoying them so much that he even was reading them in his free time. So yay, that's awesome. And so once he finished those books, we're not really doing any reading curriculum. All he's doing is reading. So once he finished the pathway readers, we've really just been doing Magic Treehouse books. Magic Treehouse has a whole ton of different chapter books for young readers, and so we've just been going to the library every week, and he gets a couple new Magic Treehouse books every week. And at the beginning of the school year, I was getting him just to read a chapter in a book a day, and now instead of doing that, since he is doing a lot better with his reading, I am just giving him a chunk of time to read. Usually it's about half an hour a day that I just give him that block of time and say, watch your clock, you need to read for this half an hour. And so that is working really, really well for us. For history, we are doing Story of the World again, and I really do like this series. I am learning so much. He is really enjoying this book. He absolutely loves when I read Story of the World to him. A lot goes over his head, and a lot he won't necessarily remember. There's just a lot of facts, a lot of names, a lot of funny names that are hard to really remember. And but anyways, as long as I keep in mind that he doesn't have to keep all this stuff memorized, it's more just like a storybook I'm reading to him, it is going great, and he absolutely loves when I read this to him. I have never bought the workbooks for him, and I just didn't know if that was necessary. Actually, more than not knowing if it was necessary, I felt like he has, it takes him enough time doing all the rest of his schoolwork that for me to read this book to him for 15 minutes is great. We can fit that into our day, but to think of him having like a worksheet to do or something after that, or some writing to do, I just thought that is too much. Like we don't have time to add that to our school day. But a couple people on YouTube here have recommended that workbook, and then a friend of mine as well said the workbook is really good, even if it's not extra work he's doing. There are like a picture of a map you could show him that's more in detail of what you're reading in the book, or a picture of the person you're talking about, or a coloring page or something like that. And so I definitely think I'm going to get the workbook next year when we get into the grade 3 book. Also, I heard that the workbook pages are reproducible, so win-win, right? I love when the workbooks have reproducible pages. We are once again using first language lessons. We learned that we did the first book, level 1, last year when Elijah was in grade 1, and it went really well. Nice short lessons, just very basic grammar and English lessons. This book does get into a lot more. When we first started using it, I was like, oh wow, these chapters require a bit more time than the book last year did, and he has learned so much. So our lessons last year would have been like, I think in grade 1 were like 1 page maybe, and now they're 2 pages, so it's a bit more he's learning. But there is so much information in here. Like, I think in the grade 1 book, they mostly talked about nouns, went into common nouns and proper nouns, and then just learned some poems and stuff like this. This book, I mean, we're only halfway through so far, and this year we have done adjectives, adverbs, verbs, conjunctions, interjections, and so much. And at first I thought, oh my goodness, this is a lot, like too much for him to learn. And then I realized, you know what, it's not. It's just a good basis. I have to remember that he doesn't have to memorize all this. Like when we get on to the next chapter and it says, do you remember what an adverb is? If he says no, that's okay. He doesn't have to have it all memorized. It's more just reviewing this stuff and just kind of getting this basis learned. He doesn't have to finish this book and remember the definition of each of those parts of grammar and speech. But there are some poems in here that he is memorizing as well, and there's been kind of some fun stuff he's done too. Like he had to write a letter and mail it to someone, so he learned how to like address an envelope, and then just writing out sentences, and there's been some fun stuff he's done in it as well, and he loves to learn poems. And anyways, this is a really good book. I really do like this series, and all my younger ones are really catching on to, and they are learning a lot just by sitting and listening to me do school with Elijah. So I think that's a really nice thing about homeschooling, is that they can all be learning at the same time. And that is it for my video on our grade 2 curriculum. Check back next Monday, and I will be posting a video reviewing our kindergarten curriculum as well. And then of course at the end of the year, I'll go over this curriculum again, but that is just our halfway mark I should mention, I don't think I mentioned it yet today, we are actually done with history and geography. We decided to do that only for the first term, so for that first semester. Now starting for me right now when I'm filming this, starting next week to the end of the school year, we are doing botany as well, so I will be interested in how that goes, and I will definitely let you guys know that. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it didn't go too long and you were able to stay and see all this curriculum, and please subscribe to my channel. If you're not subscribed to my channel yet, I do post a lot of homeschool videos and other parenting and mommy videos and hauls and tags and lots of fun stuff. So please join my channel if you would like to. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.